Well, ladies and gentlemen,
Jesus
once again, we are live.
We're not even doing that. We're telling how this show just started. We're going to tell everybody how this show just came to be.
This show sort of started live.
Bottles, that's Motorhead below me. We are into 3 minutes of this show. And I look down and see the live button saying, let's go live. And I said, hey, time out on the play here. Are we not live? Bottles, ready to go. So eager for this show. Got so much to cover between broken necks, bloodletting, and divas bitching and crying. Welcome to the SCM podcast. Happy Thanksgiving, boys and girls, children of all ages. Oh, boy, it's already started off with a doozy.
I'm seeing if I'm live.
Oh, my God. Man. All right.
Don, what do you want to start with?
Let's start with Roderick. Let's start with the broken neck spot. Let's keep it short because we don't want to get copyright infringed. But there was a spot on Friday night show in AEW where two jackasses tried to do a clothesline flip again.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't even understand how the hell this keeps happening in AEW, but they keep doing it. Just show it.
It was Action Andretti. Action Andretti is in the middle of the ring, and this is Roderick Strong right here. He's running in to take a move.
Is he taking a move or giving the move? Because I still don't know what the hell he's doing. Which one is it? Is he giving or taking the move?
Roderick Strong took the move.
Both of them land on their head. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. Hey, even the announcers are like, get the hell off of him. This all just went wrong. Why does this keep happening in AEW? Why don't you see this consistently? You will see shit go awry in WWE from time to time.
I'll tell you exactly why.
Not see it at the level that these morons do it at. These
I'll tell you exactly why.
These local backyard mud show jackasses. These
Outlaw. You left out Outlaw.
These no talent wannabe professional wrestlers, jackass, whoremongering, money-grubbing pieces of shit. I'm done.
Wow. I think it did too. I think it did too. Yeah. What more can you say about that? Roderick Strong is running in. Action Andretti performs the move. Now, it's a move that's usually performed off the top rope. The Spanish Fly is. You got your arm around the guy. You got your hand on the small of his back. You're going to lift him up. You're going to do a backflip and land on your stomach. The guy who is with you is going to do a forward flip. But Action Andretti, who is a young kid, he's a young lad in his early 20s, a little overeager, I think. Roderick Strong's pushing 40 if he's not 41, 40 already. Maybe he's a little slow for that. Maybe he didn't know what was going to happen. Maybe he wasn't sure of what kind of move was going to take place when he just said, Spanish Fly. Yeah, that's how you call it.
I don't know what the hell they were trying to do. I don't even know
that's what it was. That's what it was. In a perfect world, Roderick Strong would have landed on his back, and Action Andretti would have went on his stomach and floated over and tried to pin Roderick Strong.
I don't know about you guys, but Spanish Fly was something totally different when I was growing up. So
you don't want to see what happened to Danhausen and Dralistica when they were doing a match with. They were calling spots in the ring, and Danhausen called for a rusty trombone. It ended ugly.
I thought you were going to say T-shirt designs were involved.
Oh, we'll get to that later.
Oh boy,
or the Dirty Sanchez.
I don't want to see.
Dirty Sanchez.
I don't want to see this anymore. Can they please look, man?
You know who does a perfect Spanish Fly, and he works for the other company, the good company, WWE. Ricochet. He did a Spanish Fly with, as a matter of fact, Logan Paul, a guy who's not a real wrestler. He's a trained wrestler now, but at the time he wasn't. They performed it textbook style.
Well, the best one I've ever seen done was at the Cheetah nightclub in Atlanta, Georgia. But I'm not going to get into that
one. Yes, we have to hire a lawyer.
Did you have to shell a few bills for that one, Don, or just was
actually? I think it was like $5 a table dance, so it was something different. Moving on down the line,
Suki.
Friday night at least brought us something that I wasn't expecting. And Bottles, you're high on them, so I'll let you give a little breakdown of it. It was all about the women, like you said earlier. The women were scattered throughout. They're building up the War Games. And I'm going to say this now. I am convinced that the women's War Game buildup is going to be better than what we get in the ring. I'm convinced of that now. I'm so scared this is going to shit the bed.
Yep.
Io Sky, the ladies champ for SmackDown, has been in 5 War Games matches. 5. They used to have them at NXT all the time. Vince wasn't really paying attention to NXT. They had them left and right down at NXT. She was in every single one of them on the women's side. And she even said on Twitter how she's a pro at the War Games matches.
Okay.
Belair, Charlotte, Becky. What's that?
She won most of those matches she was in too, didn't she?
Yes.
I think almost every one.
Yeah, she does some crazy spots, moonsaults off the top of the cage, things like that. I look for a hell of a show put on by Io Sky on Saturday night. The takeaway from SmackDown for me was it was all about the women.
It was.
All about the women, and they didn't have a single women's match. But the whole show, a good 40 minutes of that show revolved around backstage, brawls, in the ring brawls.
Shit out of other women. So they eliminate them from joining the team.
Who's going to be the 4th girl for the face side? It turns out Becky Lynch is on loan from Monday Night Raw.
Good for her.
Yeah. And the other takeaway from the show, folks, if you didn't see the show, it's good to go back and watch it, but I would seek out the YouTube clip of this promo.
Where has this guy been?
He's been in NXT.
Where? No. I mean, where has he been on Friday nights? Because Escobar.
He's been a face. Escobar. Santos Escobar was a heel in NXT.
Okay.
And then he slowly became a tweener, like the heel that you love to like, that you want to love.
Yeah.
When he came to Friday Night SmackDown, they made him a face.
That's
for some ungodly reason.
That guy, he doesn't work as a face. Everything about that guy. Now that I've seen him be a natural wrestler, that looked more natural to me with him. He looked the part. He acted the part. That felt like a better fit for him inside the squared circle. He fit like a bad guy. It was great.
White suit, the maroon shirt, Motorhead from Scarface. He was dressed like that. He came out. He talked about Rey Mysterio. He said that Rey Mysterio abandoned him. He didn't abandon Rey Mysterio. He didn't turn on Rey. Rey turned on him. They were supposed to be together in the LWO for La Raza. And he hopes, he's not sorry what he did to Rey for hurting his knee. When he had that knee surgery, he hoped that Rey would get an infection in his leg and he would get sick and he'd have to amputate his leg. And the whole crowd went.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Really what a soliloquy. And then Zelina Vega came out. The dime piece, as they say, for the LWO. She came out and confronted Escobar and said that Rey's been so good to you, yada, yada, yada. Yes, he did dress like Andrade. Mm-hmm. He's been so good to you, blah, 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 blah. How could you do this? How could you say these things? And she hauled off and smacked him. Gave him a shoot slap right across the face.
She did give him a good pop.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
She wasn't bringing that shit half-assed. Thanks, everybody, for joining again, by the way. SEM crew, all the guys. Appreciate this. Happy Thanksgiving again. We got off to a rough start. There was something else that we didn't talk about that was...
It wasn't a rough start. I thought it was fantastic for just the 3 of us.
Thing went right off the rails. It was that moment of the General Lee jumped the creek and destroyed the body of the frame, and we could see it on TV, but they acted like nothing happened.
At least it wasn't Arthur Fonzarelli on skis.
Jumping a shark, that's true.
Jumping a shark. It wasn't that.
Shark.
Did you see what Vince Russo had to say this week about Miss Rhea Ripley?
No, I heard some stuff he said, but nothing about Ripley. What did he say, Don?
Go ahead, Johnny. You heard it.
Motorhead, he said that Rhea Ripley needs to go back to promo class and work on her promo skills. She's good in the ring and all that. She's got charisma. She needs to go to the next level and work on her promo skills. Maybe Vince.
This is the guy that says bro. He says bro. Like, bro, do you even know, bro?
Buddy,
this
I
dude
cannot.
Telling somebody how to talk. I wish he would slam his head in a car door repeatedly until it improved his intelligence. The dude is a walking. He's a moron. I understand now. I don't understand how anybody can talk to this guy for more than 5 minutes. Have any of you ever tried to listen to his nonsense on his podcast?
I can't. It's unlistenable. It's unlistenable, Motorhead.
Absolutely. I've tried a couple times, dude. That's terrible. Terrible.
Can you? It turns me off with the bro every minute, every 30 seconds. Bro this, bro that, bro.
I lost my wallet, bro, and the wallet, bro. I swear, man.
Bro.
At the video store, bro.
I get why Jim Cornette wants to piss on his grave now. I truly get it. The dude is the most annoying son of a bitch in the wrestling community. The worst. The absolute worst.
He needs a post-it note on his computer screen when he does these podcasts with bro and a red circle around it with a slash going through it. No bros, bro.
No bros.
I was out in the yard, bro. I was out in the yard with my bro. And we were watching that squirrel burrow into the ground.
When I saw this, I was like, okay, I can't deal with this guy anymore. He's a complete total
Ripley.
Jackass.
Don, Rhea Ripley is doing just fine.
Yeah,
she's killing it.
She's the biggest female star, arguably the biggest star.
It's not arguable.
On
She's the
Raw.
biggest female star. She is absolutely the biggest star on Raw right now. I know Cody has his fans. She's it, man. She's why I watch it on Mondays again.
Motorhead, what do you think about this? How would you like to be Seth Rollins, and you're a Monday Night Raw, and you're the champ, but you've got the male biggest star in the company, Cody Rhodes on Raw, arguably, and it's a fight for the biggest star on Raw between him and Rhea Ripley, and you're number 3. How would you feel if you were in his position?
Well, I feel like I made a mistake somewhere, took the wrong turn, you know. That's for damn sure. All the people that are in WWE right now, especially if you're going to critique or criticize anyone, dude, it's definitely not Rhea Ripley. Like you guys said, she's killing it. In all aspects of what she's doing, she is absolutely killing it. I mean, my daughter, who watched wrestling a long time ago when she was little, stopped watching it for years, found Rhea Ripley, started watching it again just because of her.
Everything she has draws you in as a fan. Her look, her demeanor, how she walks, the way that she moves, everything about her says, I need to watch whatever this chick is doing. You know what she is?
When you see her, hang on a second. When you see her on Twitter or social media when she's on her own time, without the black lipstick and the makeup and all the accoutrements and her hair brushed back, looks like almost a totally different girl. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. If she ever turns face again, they need to get rid of all the black lipstick and the eyeshadow and all that. And she'd be the number 1 baby face.
You want to know who she reminds me of now that I'm thinking about it? We're going to talk about it in a little while. She's like the female version of Randy Orton.
Hey, that's a good poll. Yeah. Definitely.
She doesn't do anything fast. Everything she does to the ring is slow and deliberate. When she gets there, she lets you know, I'm a star. The way she gets in the ring, nothing is fast with her.
You know what? I see that. She's very economical in her movements.
Yes. It's not like some of these other ones that just move so fast. So fast.
Like Action Andretti.
Let's do flips.
We're in the ring. We're in the middle of the ring. Let's do flips.
Woo! It's going to happen. I'm going to clothesline you, and you clothesline me at the same time. We're both going to land on our fucking head. Okay, let's do that.
Your gimmick's you're in a wheelchair anyway with a neck brace. Let's have it be real.
Let's do it real. Let's make it real, goddammit. Come here.
Holy shit.
Morons. On to the next thing.
Break. Give me a effing break.
AEW had a pay-per-view. Did you guys know that?
AEW has a lot of things going on right now. None of it's good.
This one wasn't much better. So here's what, Johnny, you've seen it, okay? I can only comment on what I've read and what I saw myself, okay?
Same here.
I heard that there was a couple of matches that were good, that were watchable.
Believe it or not, the
terrible.
Both women's matches were good. Don't go by what you see on the internet. Both women's matches are good. Toni Storm is an effing star with this gimmick she's got going on right now. She's a star. The 3-way match with the girls for the TNT or the TBS championship.
The Hobo.
Chris Statlander is the champ. Julia Hart and Sky Blue. She took on both of them. Julia Hart won. Julia Hart used to be the cheerleader for the Varsity Blondes, which was Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. They would come out in Letterman's jackets and their tights, much like the Hollywood Blondes of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Well, he wasn't. He was Stunning Steve back then, and Brian Pillman Sr. But
Still one of my favorite tag teams of all time.
She was in the varsity cheerleader outfit. She would come out with the pom-poms, leading the way. She was their valet. She's engaged. Well, she's married now to Shotty Lee Jackson or Johnson or whatever the hell his name is. He's a wrestler who gets no TV time now whatsoever, unfortunately. But when he does, he jobs. But he taught her, actually, how to work, how to wrestle. She, like Stone Cold Steve Austin says, as one of his famous lines from his podcast, doesn't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch. She didn't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch, but her husband now has taught her how to wrestle, and she's good. She's serviceable in the ring. She's now the TBS champion, and she's also the valet, temptress, seductress of the House of Black. So big
she's
things.
Got the whole
goth type.
Well, she's the witch, like the Stevie Nicks. She's got that sort of look going on.
She's got that sort of vibe, yes. Got that sort of vibe. A little more attractive than Stevie Nicks now, if you've seen her.
I mean, she's 70 years old, Johnny.
Christ.
Wrinkles happen, man. Jesus. Anyway, that was a vampire match. Worst piece of shit I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't even need to get into it too deep, but Butterfly Pants faced what is probably their biggest rising star right now, and Swerve Strickland.
Mm-hmm.
They had a spot in the match where they thought it was a good idea, where Swerve was bleeding, to have Butterfly Pants get under him and open his mouth and get the blood in his mouth, like he was going to drink it, and then got up and spewed it in the air. This was absolutely the most cringy thing I've seen in wrestling probably in 10 years. I can't think of anything worse.
It was disgusting.
I can't think of anything worse.
Absolutely
very
terrible.
Disgusting.
Swerve Strickland's one of those guys that I like a lot, and he's got talent. And we all know Hangman Butterfly Madam Sage is off his rockers, got no freaking sense. The guy's an idiot. But Swerve, man, this really let me down a little bit about the future of Swerve Strickland. If he can pull this shit off with Hangman Adam Page, what else can he do in the future? I hope he doesn't do anything like this for damn sure, because it was terrible.
And Motor, down at the bottom of the screen right below you, the great Sega Genesis from Twitter says, and after all that god-awful BS, Swerve is wrestling in a match tonight. 4 effing days later, like he just didn't have an effing death match. Right. Is there such a thing now as selling? Can we sell? Can we sell the beatdown? Barbed wire boards, barbed wire wrapped around his neck, and he was clotheslined with an arm wrapped in barbed wire, busted open on top of his head, stapled in his chest, in his cheek, in his jaw. What? And legit staples, because a little piece of the refrigerator art from one of Adam Page's young kids was stapled to Swerve's face. And then he's underneath of him, and that's when he reached up and had all the blood drip down into his mouth, which was a spot that was completely uncalled for. Back in the day, a guy would get busted open in a match, and then whoever's got a biting gimmick at the time, back in the day, the guy would bite him on the forehead. But there was no ingesting of blood. Of course, his mouth was open. Maybe he came in contact with it. Who the hell knows? I never saw any blood on anybody's lips when he pulled away. But this was actual tablespoons of blood going in Adam Page's mouth from the veins of Swerve Strickland.
Disgusting.
At least, I swear to, I saw the carnage on the mat. All the blood stains, even had a broken glass spot. Swerve Strickland got out and went underneath the ring and had a bag, and you think it's going to be thumbtacks. He dumped the broken glass, like a broken brown beer bottle glass, on the back of Hangman Page and leapt off the top rope did a splash on top of him. It's going to hurt him just as much as it's going to hurt Page.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you that was real glass, going by past practices in AEW. Motorhead, have you? It was on the Fight app. It was on the Fight app for a pay-per-view. I didn't. I came across a copy. That's all I can say. I came across a copy of it and watched. It was one of the most disgusting things I've seen, and
it was
pretty pointless. Pretty pointless for all the. Oh, it was so cool. It was a Texas death match. I was amazed at the fact there were no light tubes.
Oh yeah, no
light tubes.
King Kong Bundy, before he passed away, said something that I always remembered. And he said, at the rate wrestling is going now, that's when all the, hardcore death match, all that bullshit was in. At the rate it's going right now, in the future, you can kill somebody in the ring and it's still not going to get over with the fans.
And it wouldn't. You can die in the ring and people be like, get up, it's a flesh wound. Come on,
get up, it's a flesh wound. That's right. Absolutely.
Like Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yes. Merely a flesh wound.
Merely a flesh wound.
Now go away or I will taunt you a second time. I've seen that movie a few times.
Oh, yeah. Good Lord. You couldn't do that movie nowadays.
Oh, hell no. You couldn't do Imagine Blazing Saddles. Anyway.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
There was one other major thing that came out of this. I mean, look, I like MJF, but I heard that main event was a 5-finger stinker.
Look. Adam Cole and MJF are the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. They did a whole 3-week storyline for MJF wandering around backstage for a partner to take on the Gun Club in the pre-show at this pay-per-view to defend the ROH Tag Team Championship because Adam Cole's out hurt. He had surgery, two operations on his ankle to get that fixed. And Adam Cole was there. If Nick Gage was there, it would have been in light tubes and pizza cutters. They should have had Nick Cage as the referee.
Sponsored by Domino's.
Yeah.
So the main event just
hang on a second.
No, hold on. Because you're going back to, I'm talking about just the main event, right?
This ties into it. I'm trying to give you perspective. I'm trying to give you perspective on this. Cole couldn't wrestle because he's got a bad ankle. So they got Samoa Joe in there. Samoa Joe was in there to be MJF's partner. And Adam Cole's outside the ring for moral support. Anyway, they beat
time out, right? Because you're saying this, which this is why I have such an issue with his bottles. What happened at the main event? What led off the main event?
Well, the Gun Club after the match worked on MJF's leg.
No.
Hang on a second. You can't talk about the main event until I tell you what happens. They worked over his leg, his hamstring. He had to go to the hospital.
Oh my God.
The last thing he said when they wheeled him out into the ambulance, he said, Adam! A lot of people scream at Adam on these shows. Adam, don't let him take my championship, Adam! Don't let him take my championship. Later on in the show, Shivani's out with Jay White. They're getting ready with a referee to award Jay White because MJF can't continue. The AEW championship. Adam Cole comes out on crutches and a boot and says, I'll take his spot. I'll defend that championship. Make the match. I'm going to do it. And they made the match. And Adam Cole hobbles out. He hobbles out. He can't wrestle in the pre-show.
That's what I'm saying. So stupid. This whole thing is stupid. Everything about this is backwards. Everything. It would have made more sense if you'd have had Adam Cole in the opening match and MJF never tags him in, and then Samoa Joe comes down to try to defend his title. That would have made more sense. They completely backwards ass booked this. It was ridiculous. It made no sense. You're going to tell me Adam Cole can't wrestle in the opening match, but he's somehow going to grit through it in the main event? It was dumb. I didn't like any of it. None of it made sense. They got tag team champions all over the place. Where the hell is the 3-way champion? Who the hell has that? The pink guys with the scissor and shit. I ain't seen them in weeks now. Where have they been? None of this made any damn sense.
Those guys are selling the beatdown by the Devil's Doers. Remember, one guy got thrown through glass.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they all got beat down. Billy Gunn even. They all got beat down. They're selling that. But unfortunately, Swerve Strickland can't sell the effects of a Texas death match he just had 4 days ago.
And Chris is nailed on the head. Chris has it nailed right on the head. It was 20 officials holding back MJF, but Adam Page just crutches his ass to the ring. Nobody stops it.
I think Britt Baker is the biggest waste of skin in the professional wrestling industry. She's terrible. But she even said on Twitter, I cannot believe that you've got all these people out there holding back a guy who's got a torn hamstring, but a guy who just had 2 surgeries is in a walking boot and crutches. They let him walk to the ring to try to go ahead and defend the AEW championship. So Adam Cole got talked out. He hopped out. Literally hopped out on his one good leg. Yeah. And he's on his crutches. And MJF with a bad wheel is in the ring. And Jay White's working the leg. And all of a sudden, MJF would make a comeback every once in a while. Jumping around on 2 legs. Running around on 2 legs. Kangaroo kicking with 2 legs. Diving over the top rope, running with 2 legs. Jumping off the top turnbuckle with 2 legs. And then, my leg hurts. My leg hurts. Just the stupidest shit. Jay White was laying on a broken table outside the ring. And MJF dives off the top turnbuckle and does the Randy Savage elbow on Jay White on a broken table on a concrete floor. Dislocates his hip in a shoot injury. Legit. Finishes the match. He goes backstage. They had to go and the Cairo back there had to go and pop his leg back in the socket, his hip back in the socket. He's at the press scrum on YouTube after this, probably around midnight, 12:30, whatever, crying like a pussy.
My God.
The heavyweight champion for that company is crying like a pussy. Terrible. Bruno Sammartino is spinning around like a rotisserie chicken in his grave right now.
Stone Cold Steve Austin got legit dropped on his neck in the middle of a match, struggled to get through it, got backstage, and you never saw him shed a tear.
Saw him shed a tear.
Like Gil said, he has completely devalued himself in this company. They have spread him so thin, he doesn't matter anymore. He's everywhere. He's in everything. Right. And
he's the best thing they got. They got 2 stars. Well, I take it back. They got 3 stars because one's a proven ratings draw. MJF, Tony Storm, and Samoa Joe. When Samoa Joe's on TV, I look at the quarter hours. They go up when Samoa Joe's coming out.
He's been one of the best surprises they've gotten on the show.
He was languishing on. They have a website called Honor Club that you pay $15 a month to watch those garbage Ring of Honor matches that used to be on YouTube for free. And they had Samoa Joe on there. And why would you waste Samoa Joe, a proven star, on Fight Club? Why don't you put him on the regular shows too? And now they're doing that. Speaking of wasting stars on Ring of Honor, Ronda Rousey was on a handshake agreement to make Ring of Honor appearances to try to draw eyeballs.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, she has not signed a contract yet.
Okay.
She's in a feeling out mode right now with the company.
Oh, shit. We didn't even talk about the big signing. That was the other thing I wanted to cover. Tony Khan, did you hear about this, Mooner? Remember they said they announced it going in. They were going to have a huge signing at this show, a huge star that would shock everybody.
And drum roll, please.
It was goddamn Will Ospreay. The guy's wrestled like 5 matches they've had.
The guy's already made appearances in AEW.
He's already been wrestling in your company.
And that's the big typical Tony Khan with his surprises. Oh, this is a big announcement. Hey, there's a fucking white sale at Toweralls. You know? My God.
Motorhead, you know that they have to have bullshit like that to get people to buy the pay-per-view or to watch the shows. Yeah. You know that. But Will Ospreay, I can't. The rumor was going around that he was talking to the WWE, and the WWE came out and said after he got signed, he wasn't talking to us. We weren't negotiating with Will Ospreay. People say shit like that to try to raise their market value. They put that word out there. But Ospreay took that job. He signed with AEW because he didn't want to uproot his kids from England, where he lives, and move to Florida and work for in NXT and then in the WWE. He didn't want to do that.
I don't care why he didn't want to do it. I don't care that he's in AEW. What bothers me is they sold this like it was actually something no one could see coming.
Right.
Like
no one thought he was going to WWE. No one. I don't know. I didn't see a single report or news story that said, well, WWE's hot all over. I didn't see one of those.
Yep.
I heard
Meltzer put that out there.
That was it. Because he
Meltzer
wants
put that out
everyone to
there.
think his favorite wrestlers are wanted by the biggest company in the world. And I'm looking at it now. Ronda Rousey is, he's gone.
Motor
left. And Chris, I'm not big on her, but if Mercedes Moné had a sign, that would have been a big signing because she does have a fan base. I'm not one of them, but she does have a fan base.
Well, a lot of people thought that's who it was going to be.
A lot of people did. And I'm reading it now. Ronda Rousey is going to make her in-ring debut, like you said, on Ring of Honor.
Sure, he did. It's already been done.
That's terrible.
That's already happened last weekend, I believe.
Yeah, last Friday. How far has she fallen? Like, look, how far has she just come down now?
Well, it's look. Hang on a second. I'm trying to bring Motorhead back in. There he is.
Already got it.
Ronda Rousey left
off a cliff.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Calm down. Sip a little wild turkey. Ronda Rousey probably she had a baby. She doesn't want to work house shows for WWE. She doesn't want to work that schedule. You know, when she's working for the Snowman, she could work 2 days a month and maybe a pay-per-view. That's it.
But here's my question.
And getting paid
this last run in WWE.
Bingo.
This last run in WWE, does she have any value right now? I'm being dead ass serious. Does she have any value?
She has value because she's Ronda Rousey.
Yep, we don't see any. I mean, that's it right there. The name alone, she's because of who she is, what she's done in both fields of wrestling and cage fighting. But as far as going over to Ring of Honor, to me, it's a downgrade. You know, it's like going from let's go Walmart to Larry's Discount, clothing and shoes. It's a big time downgrade.
It's like going from UFC to one of those 300 different backyard, MMA fights is what it is.
Wow, look.
When you think of MMA, you think of UFC. They are the name brand.
Of course. But you don't know what Ronda Rousey's financial situation's like. She may have millions in the bank from working for WWE for 5 years, and she probably figures, I don't need the freaking money. I live out here on my ranch, and if I need some extra bucks, I'll go to AEW. Marina and Roddy say it's a great place to work. So she's with one of her other friends, Marina Shafir, who is a failed MMA fighter, and she's over there with her and having fun. And she probably
Larry's going to beat your ass talking about his discount store. Anyway, I saw that and
would you work for Tony Khan 2 days a month and get paid $4 million a year? Wouldn't you do that?
I was serious about my profession, and want to be a top star, not a chance in hell. There's no way. I'm just not.
I think she's just looking for an easy payday from the money mark, from the snow-capped ATM up in Jacksonville, Florida. Of course.
Speaking of Jacksonville, Florida.
Yes.
You mentioned last week
yes, sir.
that their lawyer had stepped away.
Oh, this one.
Oh, my. I got my ass reamed by neckbeards left and right this week.
Yeah, they
for even mentioning that this could be a possible thing. Just the neckbeards are, because they don't get laid and they don't understand these things happen.
Right.
People have sex. People in the office have sex with each other. I met my wife in the office. Guess what? We did. That's how that works.
Yeah. And
you will have conjugal visits in the office in the wrestling industry. It's been there since the beginning of time.
Hell yes.
For over a year, maybe a year and a half, there was a rumor
The rumor is huge.
The rumor was going around the wrestling industry that there was a young lady who worked backstage for AEW was making her way through the men's locker room. Now, we're not going to mention any names. We're not going to mention who that young lady is.
Or that it's even true, but she was their HR
that it's even speculation and conjecture. No, we don't know that. We don't know that.
That is the name that has been associated with it. I'm not saying which one because they have multiple HR lawyers. This one was kind of a bigger named HR lawyer.
This was the primary
of the CM Punk incident. She was in the Young Bucks locker room, which makes no sense to me. At midnight.
Who needs a lawyer at midnight? Anybody? Mm-hmm.
I've been in one once or twice, but they weren't in the jailhouse.
Why would you need a human resources lawyer to go on the road, to appear at house shows, to appear at TV tapings, to appear at pay-per-views?
That's a good question, Johnny.
Especially staying till midnight while that media scrum was going on at All Out. Not the last All Out, the All Out from last year.
Oh, they were all in.
When CM Punk said anybody's got a problem with what I'm saying, they can just meet me in my locker room. I'll be glad to talk it over with them. And sure enough, the Young Bucks rolled in with Christopher Daniels and Kenny Omega and the lawyer in question.
Was it Christopher Daniels? I thought it was just Kenny Omega and the lawyer.
Christopher Daniels was there. Okay. He was the talent relations, so he figured he had to be in on it. He was in charge at the time of talent relations, and he was doing a terrible frickin' job, I might add, according to what people say backstage. So she was there to witness everything, and people were suspended. People had to stay home. There was investigations through private investigators outside of the company, things like that. People were deemed insurance risks. There was a lot of moving parts of that investigation. And recently, there was another investigation that took place. And
well, look, I'm just going to say this.
We're not going to say who was the center of the investigation. All I'm going to say is she's been moved right now. She stepped down from her AEW duties, and she's in another corner of the Khan financial empire.
She's back with the Jaguars, right? This
I don't know that for sure.
Nope, I do.
They got two soccer teams also.
She's in Jacksonville doing the Jags. This is what they tried to put out.
Is she doing the Jags or is she representing the Jags?
Well, maybe both. That she is going to be. And here's the other thing that I heard just today is that there are sources that have told bigger podcasts than us, and I'm not going to name who they are. Mm-hmm. You can find them on your own.
Mm-hmm. They're out there.
That she was partying with the guys backstage and getting shit-faced and doing some nefarious things with other wrestlers. So that's out there, right? That's not us saying it. That's what's being told by people in the business, and we just happen to catch these little nuggets here and there. Here's the nuggets.
Multiple.
There's a podcaster. There's a podcaster who said a year ago. His name is Brad Shepard. He's an internet presence, and he also has a podcast, and he gets a lot of heat because he's a right-wing conservative Republican, and he's not afraid to name names or say what he feels. But he said that when they have a TV taping or a pay-per-view, they have these weed and cocaine and alcohol parties back at the hotel in a conference room that he rents out, Tony Khan rents out. He pays for everybody's hotel accommodations, and it's catered. They have a bartender inside, weed, coke flying all around. The girls and the boys are all partying together, and it's a natural thing. The locker room, when you're on the road all the time, it's like being in school. You're going to date the people that you go to school with. While you're on the road, you're going to date the people that you're on the road with. Sure. It happens in the WWE also. It's not just an AEW phenomenon. It happens all the time in the WWE. Look at Ricochet. He's dating he's engaged to Samantha Irvin.
Yes.
She is the Raw. She's the Raw, a fantastic ring announcer for Raw. She's fantastic. And that's an example that I'm going to give right now. Just like Edge. Edge is married to Beth Phoenix, who he met because they both work for the WWE. Anyway.
Back to the story. So
this is what happens. She gets removed.
She's back to Jacksonville. Now they're trying to state, well, it's to get a new stadium deal. I've looked it up. The stadium deal doesn't run out till 2030, right? So there's no way they're getting out of the stadium deal. In the NFL is the hardest one of all organizations to move your franchise. Mm-hmm. The Oakland Raiders are a prime example of that. They were trying to leave for the last 15 years. It took them that long to get out of there and get to Las Vegas. They don't just willy-nilly let you go anywhere. The reason that this came about was last week I noticed on the AEW website, the Young Bucks VP position had gotten removed from their title. And then it was quickly added back like 4 or 5 days later. They were like, oh, no, it's because they were the champions. We forgot to put it there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I buy that, but okay, let's say that
they were also taken off TV for a 2-week stretch while this investigation was going on. Right. Also, they had a show in their backyard in California for Dynamite last week. A week ago today. They did no promotion for it whatsoever. It was 15 minutes away from where they live. You figure they would have the Young Bucks go on local radio, local TV, and try to pump up ticket sales for it.
Because they did it with MJF in New York. They did it like crazy.
They weren't booked for the show. At the very last minute, the night before, when all this came about, when their EVP status came back, they were booked for the show, and they were going against Penta El Miedo, Del Zero, El Ucho,
Del Who Gives a Shitto.
Who Gives a Shitto. And Commander. They up against those two guys. And that was just a last-minute thing. As someone on Twitter said, why are you wrestling those two guys? And one of the Young Bucks said on Twitter, it's either that or not be booked for the show.
Having said that, this is what got my attention was after this pay-per-view. And now they're trying to say, well, it's an angle. It's an angle. And I don't know. Like, I just know what I'm reading, and I'm trying to put the tea leaves together. Young Bucks made a statement that said, we're going to step away from wrestling for a while. Please respect our privacy.
Mm-hmm. Is it an angle? Is it a shoot?
I think they're trying to spin it like an angle. I think they're trying to spin it like an angle.
Yeah. They were baby faces.
Going on.
Now they're heels. They're hated heels now because everyone hates them. Everyone hates them, except for the 16-year-old neckbeards in the basement, popping out of their white tighty whities because they barely fit, eating Cheetos,
and look at
sucking down Mountain Dew.
That's right.
That's got
right. Sucking those.
Anyway, I mentioned this week, and people lost their minds that the possibility that she was sleeping with those wrestlers or these wrestlers that couldn't handle it.
They
couldn't handle that thought. Yeah. And now it's not just us. Now it's not just one source that I've seen. It's coming out wide open on several podcasts.
Don't say coming out wide open.
Well, I mean,
don't say coming out wide open.
It is spread all over the
place.
Like Mussolini.
I want to see you naked, my friend.
Listen, it's another factor that I was trying to get your attention to say, another factor involved in this, because there's a lot of moving parts of this story. One Young Buck's wife books all the travel accommodations for all the talent in whatever city they go to. She works backstage. Another Young Buck's wife is in charge of merchandise distribution through at the house shows, at the TV tapings, and also in pro wrestling tees.
And they're also selling our man Mike Digital shit to buy like crazy, apparently.
Yeah. Saw that too. That's insane.
So apparently, guys, if you buy something from their site, they send you a direct email to buy. What was it? They called it? It wasn't our merchandise. It was
called props from TV shows.
Props from TV shows.
Yeah.
40% off.
Oh my God, it's gotten worse. It's just getting worse.
The merchandise that they have, they've got probably too much merchandise manufactured that's stinking up a warehouse somewhere, and they got to go through it. Yeah. They've got probably T-shirts or got mildew stains on it.
That's right.
So that's what they're trying to get rid of. That's what they're trying to do. Liquidation sale. Generally, that's what you do before you go out of business.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about on that. I don't want to cover that anymore. God knows we're probably going to get enough hate.
I got to hit it. You two carry on. It's the last day to pick up Mrs. Motor. I got my Jeep back, but I dropped her off for work today. So on that note, SCM Brothers, thank you very much for tuning in, chiming in. Keep the good fight going, and Bottles and Bust and Move. Don Wayne, keep kicking ass. Peace.
Motorhead, happy Thanksgiving, pal.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, SCM. See you guys.
Do you have another one of those thumb things on? I was going to ask when you got another one of those thumb things on somewhere else.
You don't want to know where it is. It's fighting a different battle, my friend.
It's on his little luchador.
I don't know if it's there.
That's what he calls it my luchador.
I don't even want to know that. I'm better off not knowing that. Why would you say that out loud?
I have no idea.
Anyway, on to Raw. That's all the shitty wrestling I want to talk about because Raw was absolutely great. They had a 1.45 rating this week.
Against the 28 million viewership football
almost 29 million.
Almost 29 million.
It was
staggering.
28.95. It's the highest watched Monday Night Football game in decades. I mean, it was a hell of a matchup. It was a Super Bowl rematch. This is how important this Raw was, Johnny Bottles. My wife is a Kansas City Chiefs fan. God bless her.
She's a bigger fan of
Randy freaking Orton. And I told her this would be the night Randy Orton was going to come back or at least get announced. And I don't want to give the whole show away. The show from top to bottom was insane. Drew McIntyre's promo, that's the Drew McIntyre I think everybody wanted to see. Am I wrong, guys? Like, that's the Drew McIntyre we wanted to see for a long time. A kick-ass dude, sort of in between. That's more his personality, right? That's who he really
that was
is.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Blew me away.
If Drew McIntyre wants to go to Hollywood when he's done wrestling, it's going to be a short walk because if he's that good with bullet points and just reciting a promo right there in the ring like that. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, but that's been the issue, right? When he's been the babyface, they've had him literally just cutting these promos that they had him just written down all over. Got to say all these lines. It was just unbelievably great. Chris says we just need broken dreams for Drew McIntyre. Well, you're right there. I'd go with that. I loved everything about Drew McIntyre on this show. It started last week with Rhea Ripley cutting a deal with him, which we talked about that earlier. She's so good. The end of the show ended with Cody Rhodes hitting the ring, helping out the baby faces. They did not announce Randy Orton by name. They didn't say his name if you didn't catch on to that. But he sang his phrase. He made all the mentions. I thought it was tremendous, and I can't wait. My guess is Cody Rhodes is the last entrant to this match. And when he comes in, I think he's the last entrant to the match. Because remember, the heels have the advantage. They start off 2-on-1.
Sure.
Well, they get to 2-on-1, right? He can be the last baby face that enters this thing. And he's got major – anybody who's been watching knows he's got heat with Jey Uso, right? They're the guys that put him out.
Sure.
Look, even Chris –
if you saw what?
Jey Uso's face said it all.
I was just going to say that. Yep. When they announced that at the end of Raw, Jey Uso's like leaning against the ropes going, oh, God.
Oh, shit, I might be in trouble.
My ass is in trouble.
And the best part about Triple H booking the shows lately, they don't let sleeping dogs lie. Like when Cody Rhodes recruited Seth Rollins, he said, hey, look, I know I'm not your favorite person, but I just need you for one match.
Continuity, baby.
It's been great. And that was one thing that used to drive me crazy in the 80s and 90s was there was none. Now the babyface, so is all forgiven.
Who remembers that, pal? Just go ahead and put him out there.
Just roll him out there, pal. God damn, nobody remembers that.
Jesus Christ, pal.
The year before Paul Orndorff was on the Survivor Series team with Hulk Hogan, they had a blood feud going on in Canada. A year later, they're at Survivor Series together. So, yeah, this was great. I loved it. I cannot wait to watch Survivor Series this weekend. I cannot wait. I wish to God it was old school and they had it on a Thursday night because I'd be watching tomorrow night. I'm hooked. I am ready for this. The bad news is there will be no CM Punk.
How you know?
There's no CM Punk.
How do you know that?
Sources have cited that he will not be there, and that's why they gave the name away on Monday night.
They had to say something. They had to say something. Maybe Orton couldn't get to the show. Something happened with that, but they had to say something.
I don't think they were ever intending on putting him on the show. Why would you bring him out? No,
Orton. Punk or Orton. I think what they're going to do. Here's what I think they're going to do. I think what they're going to do is Orton will be the last guy in the cage, and they're going to be, where's Randy? Where's Randy? He said he's on his way. He's got car trouble. He's got travel issues, problem with his flight. Where's Randy? At the very last minute, when they're on the ropes, literally getting their asses kicked, Randy Orton comes in, does an RKO to Jey Uso and RKO to Cody Rhodes, and strolls out of the ring.
And
biggest heel,
1, 2, 3.
Biggest heel on Raw.
I think he's turning as well, because you can't deny that he's going to get the pop. Oh, here we go. Chris, who is the mystery person Shinsuke was calling out? I thought it was
CM Punk.
I thought it was. Punk. I don't know now.
Are they going to tell? Look, one of the biggest things, I said this last week, one of the biggest things in professional wrestling years ago was when you're watching the NWA, you don't know who's going to show up, WCW. When you're watching WWF, you didn't know who was going to come in. When all of a sudden Lex Luger appears at the Mall of America, or Rick Rude is on a taped episode of Raw as a member of DX.
Every time you mention Lex Luger, I just hear Pat Patterson in my head. I hear it. That guy is that problem now. What a jabroni. Brucey, baby, we got away from him. Bruce Pritchard has the best story on that shit, man.
Rick Rude was a member of DX, and he was also in the NWO the same night at the same time on television.
The magic of TV, kids. Go back and look it up. It happened.
The magic of TV. So
he had a beard one night and didn't have it the next. It was
constantly surprised. It was always a surprise. You never knew what was going to happen unless you spent money for the Observer or for the 1-800 hotline for WCW with Mean Gene Okerlund. You didn't know what was going to take place. And as Larry said, he read today, backstage doesn't know who Nakamura is talking about. They're keeping it quiet. They want it to be a mega surprise. They want 50 million people to check that CM Punk walking out to the ring to answer that challenge at Survivor Series on social media. They want that the biggest thing on social media is what they trying to achieve for notoriety. That's what they're looking for. And if Punk is going to be on Raw, battling Shinsuke Nakamura, feuding with him, and then Seth Rollins, what's this say about the value of Raw and their TV contract negotiations right now? Everybody's going to go crazy.
You get CM Punk, it'll turn shit upside down.
Absolutely. And that's what's going on. They're not going to announce it. You think they're going to call Meltzer up and say, hey, by the way, Dave, we just signed CM Punk. He's going to be a Survivor Series. Shinsuke Nakamura is that's the guy Shinsuke's talking about. So that's what we're going to do. And Meltzer's going to go, well, that's pretty. It's big if true. And what do you mean big if true? I just told you it's true. Mumbles Meltzer. They're not going to tell Mumbles Meltzer or Dirty Sean Sapp what's happening. They're not going to tell anybody.
I'm not saying
they want it to be a goddamn surprise for the fans.
I hope you're
That's
right.
what they want.
I hope you're right, Johnny.
Dude, it's in Chicago. If I'll put it to you this way, pal, you're going to watch the show. I'm going to watch the show. Everybody out there is going to watch the show. If Shinsuke Nakamura goes to the ring and calls out somebody, okay, and one of the fucking Mulkey brothers walks out, that place is going to come unglued. They're going to burn that arena down, those fans are. It's going to be more shit. Especially if they play that song and Bill Mulkey walks in the ring and they're going to get pelted by so much garbage. It's going to be unbelievable.
You will hear me in Florida. I guarantee it. There is some other news I want to share with you that was announced today.
What was that?
Family Guy's movie from Sundays.
Yes, I just passed that by in March of 2024. They're going to be on Wednesdays at 9:30. So I would assume that the Fox animation block is going to be moving to Wednesdays.
No, they're saying the Simpsons are staying there. They're saying the Simpsons and Bob's Burgers are staying.
Nice. Okay, well, they'll probably do another animation night.
They want to put more competition out there for these guys. Like this is a big show in itself. It was a 9:00 draw. It had millions of viewers. I would be willing to bet, call me crazy, that the neckbeards watch Family Guy. So which one are you going to DVR, neckbeards?
It's going to be a new excuse. Well, the last half hour fell off with MJF wrestling Action Andretti and Julia Hart wrestling Tina Schoenstein. and Larry
showed her what now?
Larry Fachman came on, and he broke his neck in the ring. So no one watched because Family Guy was on at 9:30. A new excuse. Anyway. That's what they're going to use. Come on, man. Everybody, this show is going to be the AEW Dynamite is good. The Warner Brothers Discovery is going to say, "Look, we're paying you
right there.
We're paying you this amount of money right now for 3 shows, and the 2 shows you have on the weekends are doing nothing. They're crashing. We're just going to cancel them." Have you heard Bubba the Wonder Dog? Yeah, she's trying to get mine from outside. Yes, Bubba the Wonder Dog. I learned one thing about Shadow.
All right. I don't think I have anything else. What do you have?
The orange caked remotes. I've got a few odds and ends here if you'd like to go over them, my friend. I'll hit you up right now. Let me go back. And
the Young Bucks filed for a new trademark. I did see that.
Yes. Let's talk about the
wrestling. What the hell is that?
What? KTB Wrestling?
That's what they said. They filed KTB Wrestling.
Kill the bro. Kill the bro wrestling.
Kill this bitch.
Nikki Bella. During Monday Night Raw, Michael Cole read a promotional copy on the air, pumping up the show that comes on after Raw, Barmageddon, which is a bar games type reality series starring. It's held in the bar set, and real regular people, contestants.
Can you really say a show like this is starring anybody though?
If you call Carson Daly a star or Blake Shelton, then yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like you just say these people are on our show.
I wouldn't call Nikki Bella. I wouldn't call Nikki Bella a show. Nikki Bella is the Nikki Garcia. She is the female star on the show, and she was all pissed off because her name was not mentioned on Monday Night Raw when Michael Cole read that copy. He said the show's hosted by Carson Daly and Blake Shelton. She said, and I quote, "It's sad. There's obviously a lot of things I could say about that. I think more than anything, it's disappointing. I worked there for 16 years, and I helped pave the way for them."
Oh, my God. Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up.
This is why I want to read this to you, because I want you to have an aneurysm.
Good Not call, only that. KTB, killing the business. I forgot that was their moniker. Good deal.
Not only that, they've always been family to me. Walking away, for me, it wasn't malicious. I'm just at a point in my life, and I wanted to do things without hearing the word no. And it was just strictly business. Maybe there were some personal things that happened over the years that also pushed me toward that. But I think more than anything, it's disappointing because I don't see it happening with the men. For some reason, with the women who are outspoken, and we've seen this with the women in the past, they just want to ban us. I think it's sad because we all look at it as family and say, okay, they don't want to say my name, but that's fine. But hey, Barmageddon got a shout out. Honey, you're not there anymore because you wanted too much money to re-sign. Plus the fact that you broke up with your fiance, John Cena, or rather, he broke up with you.
Because he couldn't stand that trap that was not stopped running. Everything.
That constant yammering about, do my nails look okay? Does this dress make me look fat? How do you answer
I made you dinner tonight. Well, I said we were going out. I thought this would be better. Bitch, I said I was taking you out to dinner. I'm done.
At the end of Raw, Cody Rhodes, like we talked about, announced Randy Orton as the final member of his team for Survivor Series. They pulled in, across all the social media platforms, 22,100,000 views across everything with all the clips they uploaded in 24 hours' time. In one day, Don, 22 million views.
Wow.
That is phenomenal. That's the entire cumulative viewership of AEW Dynamite in a year and a half.
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
It's unbelievable. Chris Van Vliet, who is a great interviewer.
I love that guy, man.
Great podcast he runs on YouTube.
You guys really, he's a nice guy, but he's a little bit too nice for me sometimes.
He's a little bit too nice. He's a pretty boy, of course. He's a little too nice, but he's not afraid to ask questions because he's very ingratiating. I mean, people like him. You talk to the guy, you say, this is a guy I'd like to hang out with. He likes everything I'm saying.
Well, he also gives you softballs. Like, he gives a lot of softballs.
Of course.
Like, if I'm sitting Cody Rhodes in the room, the first thing I'm going to ask him after I say what brought you back to WWE is, how bad do you think the AEW product is right now? Because I know you watch and you have friends there.
I would ask, how shitty did they treat you backstage at AEW while you were going out the door? That's what I would ask him. But anyway, he interviewed the Ring General, Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of the WWE. And Gunther, when he was asked about The Miz, he said, I don't remember anything specific in Miz's career. I can promise you that. I said it before.
This has been a fun angle.
Because I forget the years. I don't know, maybe it was 2010, 2012. There was a time when I was coming up as a wrestler even later. I didn't bother watching WWE because it was really not my thing. I like Japanese wrestling, some of the indie stuff, and that's where my focus was when I watched for personal entertainment. But also like Japanese matches, how can I use it? So The Miz for me was always the embodiment of the era when I didn't like to watch WWE at all. So getting in the ring with him now is fantastic, especially in WWE, and it's about the Intercontinental Championship. It's really the matchup to see who's the greatest Intercontinental Championship champion of all. So
I'm looking forward to this. The Miz has been interesting again. I think people sleep on how damn good he is when he's on versus when they got him doing the corny shit, because they do have him do a lot of corny shit. I mean, there's no denying that. When they have him
the
do
large
that
balls,
shit,
when he was doing it, when his wife was in, talking about how big his balls are. Oh,
yeah, that stuff I can't handle. But when he's on, he's great.
Triple H did an interview with Sports Illustrated, Don. Have you heard this? Stop me if you heard it. You have heard this? Have you read it?
Cover it real quick. Just give the highlights.
Writing this stuff is a feel. You can analyze stories and how they come together, but how does it make you feel? If you can make people feel those stories, they're going to be invested in the product. That's how we try to approach it. Find that ultimate emotional place for the talent and the characters and the stories they're in.
That's it. That's what I took out of this.
We don't take our fan base for granted. And the way our talent operates is different from other generations. They want to go out there and put on the best possible show that they can.
So here's what Raw has become.
Totally different from AEW.
Here's what Raw has become, right? And I've heard Jim Cornette bitch about it, right? But he doesn't look at his own product in the 80s and really dissect what it was. When you watched the NWA in the 80s, when you watched Jim Crockett, when you watched WCW, they didn't have great matches in the ring all the time. They had a couple of matches throughout the show. Most of it, especially when it got the high ratings on Ted Turner's WCW, was when they were cutting the promos, right? You would see Arn Anderson every week defend his TV title. That was one thing that you got to see. That was the match. WWE is doing the same damn show. They really are. They give you a couple of good matches, but they're not going to give you the money matches. If you want to watch good wrestling, you're going to have to do one of two things. You're going to have to go to one of their house shows, or you're going to have to watch the PLEs. That's when you're going to get what they do best. They're not going to give you some garbage ass 30-minute battle royal on Monday night. You're not going to get that usually, unless it's a stipulation of some crazy shit, but you're not going to see it there, in my opinion. You have to tune into Survivor Series this Saturday to get an old-fashioned grudge match. And I think you might even, I'm not saying you will, but you might see somebody bleed. Like hard way. Like it wouldn't surprise me to see Cody Rhodes hit that cage a la Dusty Rhodes, baby. A la Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. They'd have you bleeding, baby, in the middle ring. And I said, no, you will not take the American Dream from the people, daddy. I got hard times, baby.
Hard times. Hard times. Let's talk about another news story that came out.
Oh, God. We're running long. You sure?
This is a good one, pal. Inside ropes. Inside the ropes. Jim
I don't want to talk about that. I want to cover that tomorrow. There's a couple of things.
Tomorrow? We're not doing a show tomorrow.
Friday, there's a couple of things I want to talk about.
Okay.
For our show specifically. He named his Wrestler of the Year and a few other things, and I would like to have our own dissertation on that.
Okay.
And fill a little bit of time.
You remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the NWA controversy?
Yes.
The NWA is actually on the CW app.
That's what I heard.
the CW Network app. They've got 15 seasons of NWA Power. Hard times, baby, hard times. NWA is going through some hard times. They're slashing budgets. They're cutting talent. He can't make the check. He can't make the payments, baby.
MLW wrestling is what we really need to get into one day, because that is a shit show behind the scenes. My God, dude, what's happening there? I don't even watch the product, and they keep making the wrestling news because they refuse to let good wrestlers go, and they're not using them.
That's Court Bauer,
yeah,
ex-WWE wrestler. I'm not ex-WWE wrestler, ex-WWE writer, Court Bauer, who once had a famous drag race with Vince McMahon driving through the streets of Connecticut. Have you heard that story?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But we can say
I've got one. I've got another piece.
This is it. This is it.
No. There's a couple.
Over an hour.
That's okay. There's a couple pieces of business. A couple more nuggets of business here. The New York pay-per-view for AEW, Saturday, December 30th. It's over a month away, and they're already selling $10 tickets. $10 tickets to their pay-per-view AEW.
But that's not what they're focused on. They're focused on their total ticket sales.
Right, the number of tickets that are sold, not the actual dollar amount.
Yes, they are focused on their tickets sold, which is, they're close to a sellout. I'll give them credit, but at $10 a shot, it ain't much.
Their Collision ticket sales from last Saturday, last Friday when they had Collision on a Friday night, $225,000 in ticket revenue, and that's in that arena that they had, and they're not making any money at all.
I'm trying to remember how big that stadium was.
When the WWE puts on a Raw or a SmackDown or a pay-per-view, it costs $1 million to put that show on, to rent the arena, to have all the trucks and semis to drive everything there. Allegedly.
We don't know this.
Well, I got the info from WrestleNomics.
Well, I get it, but that guy's not working in the building, right? Like, he doesn't actually see their sheets. He just gets told what it costs. Like, I work for some companies, man, where people make some shit up on the numbers, and it's just not true. That's why when I read these guys talk about the numbers, I don't buy what they're saying 95% of the time. Dave Meltzer said a Raw broadcast announcement was coming and it was imminent. It's 3 weeks and nothing's happened. Just saying.
Can you really believe Dave Meltzer?
No. What I can't believe is I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
These are hard times.
And we will see you Friday.
These are hard times. Yes, Friday, the Friday Flashback. The Friday Flashback, the topic of the Friday Flashback this week will be the blinding of the junkyard dog, Sylvester Ritter, by the fabulous Freebirds. How that angle was so big in Mid-South. It dominated Southern professional wrestling. And
it even spilled over into Georgia championship wrestling. It was such a hot angle that they talked about it on Georgia because word had spread from Louisiana to Georgia show that the Freebirds had blinded him. Junkyard Dog was blinded by the Freebirds.
Yes.
When they were wrestling for the tag team titles. I can't wait to talk about it and what happened from the fallout. Because it changed the landscape. Junkyard Dog was already a local star. This made him a national star in the South. He spread like wildfire.
You might say this angle helped push him up to the WWF.
I would absolutely say this is what caught their attention. This is absolutely what caught their attention. I can't wait to talk about this Friday.
Let's not give it all away, Don. Let's not give it all away.
Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.